Well, I thought Gary'd forgot about Sheikh Mansour. You know what I mean?
No, but I think, to be fair, Steve, we were really honest with you, I think at the moment, you'd have to say, with these 115 charges above your head, in terms of performance levels, the ownership has been unbelievable and the regeneration is spectacular. But I do think there's a massive cloud hanging over City. I mean, it is. If a lot of those charges are found to be obviously true, it would darken and...
Yeah, but would it darken it for you?
No, listen.
Listen, I mean, the charges are the charges. City need to be found innocent on this. City need to be found not guilty on this. They have to. You know what I mean? And City say they have irrefutable evidence to support their position. So City now can't be found guilty if the club has told me and told you guys that they've got irrefutable evidence. So they need to be found not guilty on this charge. 100%, 100%. Let's see what Steve has to say about how it affects him.
Without a shadow of a doubt, but the key word at the minute is allegedly. Everyone in this room automatically thinks Manchester City's guilty. We're treated like we're guilty.
Facts.
We're paraded around in the papers, on the TV, the media, as we're guilty. But I'm trusting my chairman. Karl has come in. Everything they said they were going to do. And don't get me wrong, when they came in...
Yeah, you have to trust him. You have to trust him. Otherwise, if you don't trust him, we should all be protesting to say, get him out of the club if you don't trust him. He's basically leading the football club. He's the man who runs everything. So if as City fans we don't trust this guy, yeah, we should all be protesting this guy to leave the football club. So you have to trust him right now.
I was sceptical. We had facts in Shinawatra. I thought, this is one of them fake sheikhs. We're getting took to the cleaners and this is us finished. Everything they said they were going to do, from the infrastructure, don't get me wrong, they had to build a football club from the bottom because we wasn't a very good run football club. We had Manchester United across the road. That was just unbelievable. Yeah. We were looking across there thinking...
Oh, no, they've done an unbelievable job. But say that
whether
they're the best owners, though, will depend heavily upon whether they get off these charges. I'm not saying that...
He's done everything he said he was going to do. They've done everything, building the academy. We've all talked about the great academies. We've got a fantastic academy. And I can only back my chairman. And
exactly what I just said. I've not seen this, by the way. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen it. All I've seen is the clips that have gone out on social media. I've not seen this. So I completely agree with it. You've got to back the chairman.
When my chairman puts a statement out and says, we will look forward to giving our irrefutable evidence...
Bro! Well, I literally just said this!
...in court, then I'm backing him.
But they wouldn't be kicking it into the long grass.
Yeah.
And kicking it down the road.
I mean, I would say, listen, obviously you fight your own case.
You're represented by the best lawyers in the world and they're telling you to do that, you're going to listen to them. You're not going to listen to David.
There's a reason for that, is because they're hoping that
on the table.
Eventually that it'll run out of time and they can't get
No, but this is
done
not time barred. It's not time barred, this one. This is everything's out in the open.
It's not.
So,
again, Adam's waffling here. Steve's right. If I'm sorry, if you get the best lawyers, right, which you're gonna do, if you can afford the best lawyers, because this is another thing where people say, "Oh, Man City are paying for the best lawyers." Yeah. What do you want us to fucking do, mate? Go and get the new guy who just qualified last week. Of course they're gonna get the best lawyers. If the best lawyers that you're paying them a lot of money say, "You need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that," what are you gonna do? Turn around and say, "Nah." Well, what's the point of having them then? It's just a completely ridiculous... When you actually think about it logically, this argument from rival fans is just completely stupid. Really just makes them look like idiots, in my opinion.
What would be the reason for... Okay, so it sounds like you've got a little bit of an insight into the club with the job that you've got a little bit. So, I mean, what is the reason why you would drag this out?
No. Because the fucking lawyers tell you to do something, go down a route. If a lawyer tells you to do something, then you do it. What's the point in getting a lawyer? Are you that dumb? I mean, I'm sorry. Am I being stupid here? If you get a lawyer and the lawyer says, right, we need to take them to court to stop them getting this, or telling them that we don't think that they're even entitled to this, or do whatever, or whatever the thing may be, are you going to tell the lawyers, nah, mate, you're waffling? You've got to do what they say. Otherwise, what's the point in getting them? Get hell, man. You're not representing yourself. It's not one of those, like, freaking weird films where some guy gets cast out for murder and he's like, I ain't getting a lawyer, bro. I'm just going to do it myself and represent myself in court. This is serious business. City could be thrown out the league. You know what I mean? We got to follow the lawyer's advice. It's honestly, lads, it's honestly not some sort of mad conspiracy. We are just following the advice of the lawyers.
No, I've got no insight at all. But people in this room have got no insight. But what I'm saying is, you've got to be looked fairly.
Factual. No one knows what's going on, which is what I've said from day one. No one knows if we're innocent or guilty. Not me, not you, not Big Steve, no one. I've never sat here once and said we're innocent. Once. So anyone that's a rival fan watching this saying, LB, you're deluded. I ain't deluded. I've never said once we're innocent. I've never said once we're guilty. I have no idea. I'm waiting for the outcome. That's what everyone should do. The only people who know if we're innocent or guilty, yeah, are the people who made these deals and done the stuff that they're alleged to have done. That's it. No one else. So anyone else that says anything is waffling.
Judge now, like 115 charges just means you're guilty straight away. It doesn't. Manchester City have obviously...
But there's a second set of charges, isn't
yeah,
it, on the back of UEFA's?
they obviously want their day in front of the panel. So they're not giving up books and account because it's probably a legal process where you just can't do that. Don't get me wrong. I would love City to go here. That's the evidence there.
Yeah.
Let's go away. But here's another dilemma. If Manchester City are cleared, yeah, there's not one person in this room that really thinks we're cleared.
Yeah, yeah.
They're going to say,
I agree with you.
You know what you've done there? Someone's paid somebody off there. So us as Man City fans, we can't win. I'm a football fan. I'm not an accountant. A lot of Manchester City fans are on the best journey of our lives. Yeah. Under David Bernstein and all that, the club was, you know, going out of business. We're on a journey now. This is a cloud, like Gary said. It is a cloud.
Big cloud.
Don't get me wrong. I wake up every single morning to messages, 115, cheats, done this. But it's not me. I'm not an accountant. So I'm a football fan. But what
Correct.
kind of football fan would I be if I didn't trust the chairman who's delivered us everything?
And you love that chairman. When it's
Correct. You got to trust him, man. You got to trust him. Otherwise, if you don't trust him, yeah, my point to you is like, why are you not kicking off big time? If you're a City fan and you don't trust this guy, you should be organising protests to get him out. Because if you don't trust that he's telling the truth, then he's put our club at massive risk. So you got to trust him. And you know what will be will be. We'll make if we get found guilty, then we'll have to have that conversation about what happens next. And some people will have one opinion, some people will have another. But you've got to trust the guy.
talk about ownership, I always say, if you've got money and great expertise, that's the best combination. And you
don't get me wrong. If we've done something wrong, yeah, then I've got to go out on all these shows I've been on like this, and I've got to sit there and I've got to take it. And there'll be nobody more disappointed than me. Manchester City's my life. Everything about my life, I follow.
Who would you be disappointed in?
In the owners and the chairman.
Steve, what would you do if?
I agree.
What I'm saying,
I agree. It's because they've lied, man. They've told us that they've got irrefutable evidence. This is why I'm saying we can't now lose the case. You told me. You've told every single City fan that you've got irrefutable evidence. You got to win, Bray. Khaldoon, yeah, you got to win the case now. Well, we'd be disappointed if you told us all, yeah. Because when I go in the streams, I'm doing the streams about this, yeah. And we're talking, we've got the live chat and stuff, and we're chatting about it, yeah. Most City fans are like, no, we've got to back the club, 100%. That's what we should be doing. But we're only backing the club because they've told us that they're innocent. They've told us that they have irrefutable evidence. If you then lose the case, of course, you have to read the outcome. You have to read to see why we lost. It's not always a black and white. You have to actually read it first. But I agree with Steve. I'm going to be massively disappointed in Khaldoon if we lose the case, because you told me that we were chilling, mate. You sat there in that interview and smiled on your face and said, when it's all done, we will be there type thing.
Obviously, I agree with at this moment in time. I've got no faith in, to be fair, anybody landing the charges on them, and that the Premier League, City could easily get off all 115 as far as I'm concerned. But if they were guilty of these charges...
But again, he just said he's got no faith in so again, Gary sort of the way... Listen to what he just said. Listen to the way he says this.
I've got no faith in, to be fair, anybody landing the charges on them.
He's got no faith in anyone landing the charges. So if City do get found not guilty, he's just going to be... You know what he's going to be like? He's going to be like, well, I had no faith in them getting it. So it's why instead of wording, this is what I have a problem with everyone, and this is what Steve just said a minute ago on this video. He said, if we get found not guilty, there's not going to be one person in that room who sat there and go, yeah, I agree with that, City not guilty. Everyone's going to go, oh, they got off with it. And this is as City fans, don't think that if we get found not guilty, everyone's going to go, oh, sorry lads, fucking hell, I've been spamming 115 on all your comments for the last 3 years. It turns out you're not guilty. My bad. You guys should probably sue the Premier League for that. No. Everyone is going to say, cheats, liars, pay them off. Yeah?
I mean, the Premier League, City could easily get off all 115 as far as I'm concerned. But if they were guilty of these charges, what would you, as a prominent City fan, expect to be the action? In terms of what would you want? What would you expect the owner? What would you expect them to do?
It depends on the severity of them, innit? You know what I mean? We've read of some of them about grass length. not being up to a certain thing, the medical room not being the right side. There's loads of these charges.
That's actually not true. This is something that people put out on social media, which is incorrect. People were looking at the wrong handbook rules. So the Premier League handbook rules change every year, and the rules this year. So for example, say a rule was like 11B. Yeah, this year that was for grass, whereas actually you've got to look at the handbook at the year that we were charged. So that's actually not correct, and people are misinformed on this because people put out misinformation on Twitter, and then that impacts us all.
I've read about it. It depends. You know what I mean? I can't sit here and say how I'd react. I don't know. But if it comes out in court, we've been guilty of this, and this. Obviously, rival fans like Everton who've been punished, and they're going to want the book thrown at us. So, but all I'm saying is we've already been judged. There's no fair. You've cheated. That's it. If Everton's got guilty of one charge, City again.
That's emotion though. That because in here you may have already been judged by fans.
No, every day. I get it every day, Gary.
No, but the panel and you're not suggesting that the panel and the judges that.
No, not them. No, I'm just saying on social media and where I am, and rival football fans automatically assume we're guilty. Obviously, the panel will be independent.
But Steve, you're right. Of course, that will always be the case. It's the same on the UEFA one. That got passed. You weren't convicted of that. So, but you still get it thrown at.
They weren't.
I get what you're saying. I know it was time barred. I'm aware of that.
Only part of it was time barred, right? And we won the other part of the case. Again, what do you want us to do? Does that not show? Does that not show actually the fact that it was time barred? Does that not show the naivety and actually that we could be right? UEFA charged us for something that they weren't allowed to charge us for because it was time barred. Does that not show you that actually they're just fucking completely incompetent at the job? Do you know what I mean? Because they charged us for something that they're not allowed to charge us for. And by the way, if you actually read the case, there's a lot on there. UEFA got cooked in that CAS document. Cooked. The people on the panel for CAS cooked them.
But my point is, when one of the reasons for that is when you see Manchester City say they're bringing in more commercial revenue than anybody in the world.
That's not true. We don't bring in more commercial revenue than everyone in the world. I think we're 4th or 5th highest.
That is ridiculous.
It's not true. Again, misinformation. Are these people just like sheep or something? Can they not read stuff themselves? City have not got the highest revenue in Europe. So what are you talking about? You just lied. Misinformation. And these people have a responsibility on these big platforms. Yeah, how many views has this video got already? Already got 130,000 views, yeah, in 5 hours. These people have a responsibility to be putting out correct information.
That can't be right. That is like, I'm not having to go at you as a club.
No.
I totally get you're going to fight for your club. You're a City fan. I get that. The reason why some of the things from other fans is you look at that and go, oh, come on. You're almost throwing that in your face.
But look at the trophies we've won in.
I get it, and I know you got your Champions.
We're the most successful club in the last decade. We regularly get to Champions League finals, semi-finals. Yeah, we win quads, mate. We win trebles. We're in what's it called? The Club World Cup, FIFA Club World Cup. Sponsors will want to sponsor Manchester City because we're everywhere. We go deep into competitions. We don't get knocked out in the 3rd round. We don't get knocked out in the group stage of a Champions League match. You know what I mean? In the Champions League, when your group has Copenhagen and Galatasaray in it, we go deep. I just think that, you get real. This isn't 5 years into the project. You know, we're a decade and a half into this. Of course, sponsors are going to want to sponsor Manchester City. It's a completely ridiculous argument.
League money, right? Real Madrid have won 14 European Cups. You can't bring in more commercial revenue than Real Madrid.
But you're missing the point. At the end of the day, what we've been doing gradually over years and years and years, coming up to now, are we not entitled to get big sponsorship deals because we're winning the Premier League?
Of course you are.
Are we not entitled because we're winning the trebles, Centurions, Formidables?
Yes.
We're doing incredible things.
Yes.
So we can go to companies and say, do you want to be a part of the City Group? Don't forget, we've got clubs in China, we've got clubs in New York. So if you're invested in Man City...
Do you seriously believe that you bring in the biggest commercial revenue in world football, Manchester City?
But we don't, Jamie. You again, misinformation. Misinformation. This is not true. I don't know why he's saying this at all. It's not correct information. It's not correct information. You know, Real Madrid are above Manchester City. I'm on this now, Deloitte. Real Madrid returns to the top of the money league. Real Madrid. So this is fake news.
City, Steve, come on.
No, but listen to me. I'm saying as a business, Gary mentioned something once, I think, about Etihad Airways and stuff and being related to the thing and all that. At the end of the day, these guys they're business contacts. You're telling me at Salford you've not utilised your business contacts and brought in people who know you. They might not give a shit about Salford, but they know you. So they've said, oh, we'll invest in Gary's team.
Steve, we at Salford, we have got one of the largest commercial revenues in the league and one of the lowest gate revenues in the league. We have.
Is that not dodgy then?
But we haven't got any related party sponsorship deals. We haven't got companies that have invested into Salford that we own or got connections to that have put double the amount in.
Yeah, but what? That's not what Steve's just asked you. Steve's just asked you. You got no mates or like people who own companies that have invested in the company. You're not talking about your brother, mate. You're not talking about Phil. You're talking about have you not utilised your contacts to boost your club's revenue? Which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with. There's nothing wrong with that. If you own a business and you want to get sponsorships in, there's no rule to say, oh, you can't go to this guy or this guy, you're mates. What is this? In North Korea, you can do what you want, mate.
We don't benefit, we haven't done that. So I can honestly say to you that we have not in any way, shape or form gone to I own 6 companies, none of them are sponsors of Salford, none of Peter Lim's.
But not your mates. No, none of your business contacts at all. So all these people that sponsor Salford, you don't know anyone who's connected with that company. No one. You don't know who they are. They just rang up one day and went, oh, we want to sponsor your company. Come on.
Companies are sponsors of Salford, so there's no revenue has come into our football club at all. And look, I'm not saying we wouldn't do it in the future.
But from the Abu Dhabi point of view, what they're trying to do is if you've been to the Middle East, it's all about the Middle East. So if they own a football club, that's the crown jewel in the Middle East. So they want to get Middle Eastern companies, involved in it to raise the profile of the Middle East. I've been to Saudi a few weeks ago and I've been out to Dubai, and it's like. So I can see where they're coming from with that, but everyone automatically thinks because his brother owns Etihad Airways, it must be a bent deal. Why is it not just, I want my brother...
And it's not, because Cass actually reviewed that and said it was fair. So anyone that says this, and I'm going to listen to what Jamie says now, that's misinformation. Cass reviewed it and said it was fair value.
Airways on the
totally get people who you know would sponsor your club. You know what I would say is, when they're paying a certain amount for it, who was the rival bid for them to pay that?
Well,
does there have to be a rival bid? Okay, so let's talk about transfers then. Liverpool sold Philippe Coutinho to Barcelona for a ridiculous price. Do we scrutinise that because there was no rival bid? It's just ridiculous, man. Like, what are you talking about? What they should be talking about, if they're so desperate to talk about these charges, is whether or not Manchester City have committed fraud, yeah? Because that's what we're being alleged to do. Not this bullshit, man. This is just people waffling about stuff that they don't know what they're talking about. What is he on about, bro? Where's the rival bid? So you can't sell no products now unless 2 people were interested. Because if one person only is interested, then that's dodgy and they're overpaying it. It's just waffle, mate. It's waffle. I'm quite happy if this conversation, was about what we've been charged with. That Manchester City have lied about their sponsorship revenues because it's disguised as equity. It's actually equity funding, If you want to talk about that, talk about that. I'm not too sure what there is to discuss because no one actually knows whether it's true or not. As I said before, the only people that know it's true or not are the people that actually done it, what's been alleged to have been done. This is just absolute waffle, man, from people who really don't know what they're talking about. And by the way, I include Stephen in that because he don't know what's going on. As he said earlier, nor do I. Steve don't know what's going on, nor does Jamie, nor does Gary, nor does anyone else in that room, nor do I, nor do you. The only people that know what went on are Khaldoon. I mean, we don't even know properly what the charges are, because all they give us was a brief outline. We don't actually know in detail what the charges are. Everyone's just speculating. Honestly, man, pure waffle.
And to come out, but there
wouldn't be a rival bid.
If you look at the Cass case.
Right then, Philippe Coutinho, that's a fucking dodgy transfer then, because there was only one bid from Barcelona. We're going to investigate that.
Yeah, if you look at that, in the paperwork it says the Etihad Airways, Etisalat sponsorships were deemed of fair value. That was done there because they had people from Etisalat there. So people saying, "Oh, the Etihad deal's not right." It was right. It was proved in CAS that that's fair value. But who can put a fair value on a sponsor?
This is my problem, man. Who is anyone to tell another company what fair value is? Because if the Premier League or UEFA, this is just for City, by the way. If City sell some rights, the stadium rights to Etihad for 10 million quid a year, let's just say 10 million, right? Who are UEFA to say that's not fair value? Because what you're actually doing there, it's nothing to do with City. What you're actually doing is the company that's paid the money, yeah? You're basically saying to them, you've overpaid. You're not, they can do what they want, man. It's a separate company. If fucking Nestle turn up at the Etihad tomorrow and say, mate, you know the fucking Summerby bar, yeah? We want to put all the Nestle stuff over, we'll give you £1 million a year. Who is anyone to say to Nestle, you've overpaid? Fucking, they can do what they want, mate. It's a separate company, bro. You got no jurisdiction telling this company what's fair value or not. It's completely ridiculous. Are they going to start investigating my fucking Manscaped deal? Yeah? Is that where we're going to go next? Are they going to knock at my door and say, LB, Manscaped is not fair value? 115. Honestly, man. It is bizarre.
Holy to God, if you think that going into Manchester City, champions of the Premier League, the old New York City, we can get a training ground name there. And so if I go and look at Manchester City's model and think I can get into China, New York, India, I can get in. Whereas if I go to pick any club, Spurs or whatever, and say I've got Tottenham, then maybe I'm just limited to England. So these owners are very clever. I'm not an accountant. I'm just saying that I trust them. But I'm on the front line. If this comes out in the washing and City's done something wrong, there's nowhere for me to hide.
And I'm not. There's a fan debate the next morning.
You've got European cups, leagues.
Listen, every memory that this football club has made me, Sheikh Mansour has made me, I'll never forget. No matter what happens, unless the men in black turn up with that little pen, flash it in front of me.
Can you send them to me if you do?
I've had the best time of my life, right, supporting this football club. And I'm not going to say if we got sanctions that it wouldn't hurt. Of course it would. We're a football club. But all I'm saying is, all I say to people is, let's see in court. And if Manchester City go to court and they prove that what the Premier League is saying is wrong, because I believe that Manchester City could come out of this in a good way, and the rest of the clubs in here could benefit from Man City having the guts to go up against this Premier League. Because we've just sat here for an hour now and realised that what they're doing is not right. FFP, turnover-based, it's not right. People with small turnovers, how are they going to compete? It can't happen. It should be debt-based. Your club should not be able to run into an X amount of debt because you're sailing close to the wind. Turnover-wise shouldn't have nothing to do with it, in my opinion. If that's your club and you want to spend your own money on infrastructure and players, then you do that.
We believe that. But if they're not the rules, you're not allowed to break the rules. So is Manchester City right now a cloud actually over the Premier League? You talk about sort of other clubs trying to compete with you. When they look back in years
City
to
were
come,
fifth in the Premier League, sixth in the Premier League, there's not half the amount of moaning about it.
Of course.
It's because we're winning. But at the end of the day, you look at the transfer window just gone. Transfer window used to be a great day.
Truth.
Some of us, ringing sick at work. Transfer deadline day, we'd sit there, who are we going to sign? The biggest deal was a Formula One driver moving. It was 55 million. So they've even killed the transfer window. They've killed pre-season. I think the Premier League, from the outside looking in, is a mess. Yeah. And I think all this with Everton, Forest, Villa, what we said, is a mess. And I'm just waiting for the fair trial. And if we're guilty, I'll put my hands up and there'll be no...
And you'll take all that back?
Yeah, but I bought one of them replica European Cups, so I locked myself in a room with that and took it away.
That's why I didn't want Qatar United, because I feel that fans end up parroting this kind of state-sponsored PR and all these statements and stuff trying to defend your football club and that. And I get it, football fans are emotionally invested in their team, so they're going to do that. But it's mad, isn't it? When you're trying to defend literal financial doping by a sports washing.
We don't know if that's true. We don't know if that's true. Is it true? We'll find out. We'll find out when the court case...
State.
It's alleged, isn't it? It's alleged.
Oh, come on, bro.
Are you a lawyer?
Bro, you just sat there and defending him. Are you a lawyer?
No, I've just said.
I've
just said allegedly.
OJ.
I know much about it as you know. You know nothing and I know nothing.
All right, City's success is
You're just
spot on.
listen,
come on, bro.
You're hurt.
Well, why can't he just accept what Steve said is completely fair? Why is Adam crying about this? Yeah, what Steve said there is completely fair, and what I've said from day one. I don't know if we're guilty. I don't know if we're innocent. We'll trust our owner and we'll trust the board because the board have told us that they got irrefutable evidence. But if we're not innocent, then we'll face the music and we'll probably get relegated or whatever. But what you can't do, what other rival fans struggle to do, even though we're being completely reasonable by saying we don't know if we're innocent or guilty, we're not saying one thing or the other, we'll wait and see. We believe we'll get found not guilty because that's what we're being told. The rival fans cannot accept on any metric that Manchester City can be not guilty on this. They cannot accept it at all. And that's why I said earlier on, if we get found not guilty, yeah, the rival fans, they're not going to turn around and be like, oh, sorry about that, lads. Sorry. Adam's not going to go, oh, sorry about that, boys. Remember that time on Overlap when I said, oh, come on, Brev? He's not going to say that. He's going to say, City fiddled the books or something. So, you know, it's the rival fans, man. Listen, I get 100% why you might think this might be dodgy or whatever, but to not be able to, for 1 minute, to be able to consider that maybe City are innocent, that's just the ridiculous part.
Obvious.
You're a Man United fan.
It's obvious. It's obvious, apparently. It's obvious. How is it obvious?
Man City are
Obviously, my
slapping you
team's
up every
crap.
week and you hurt.
But I'd rather be beaten by
He
a
knows
Liverpool
nothing,
that is
nothing.
genuine success than just doped. It's literally you're losing against someone.
isn't
that's
it
just
open to that now?
juicing, bruv.
That's what
These have
everyone's
spent £1
hoping
billion.
for, though, now,
They've
aren't
spent
they?
£1 billion
when we argue
because they're
about-
not winning. Apparently, it's our fault. It's easy to
The
blame
money,
Manchester
we know where the
City
money
for your
comes from, and
failings.
I'd never
It's easy to
defend the
blame Man
Glazers.
City for your
I'd never
failings.
defend the Glazers, though, just like I wouldn't have defended us if we got Qatar.
You had a march
You're
for
sat here
Qatar.
going.
You had a
You're
march
sat
for
here going.
Qatar outside your
But
stadium.
you sat here and went.
You had a march
sat
for
here.
Qatar outside the stadium.
You can't say you
Sheikh
because I
Jassim.
wasn't there. And
Sheikh
there's probably
Jassim.
about a couple of hundred people.
Well, there's
But
always a couple of hundred people, even Glazer out.
you know a couple of hundred people at City.
You know what I mean?
But how can you sit there and go, we're not state-owned, but you literally called them Etihad?
But we're not technically state-owned. We're not. We're owned by the Abu Dhabi United Investment Group, mate. Like ADUG, like we're not state-owned. We also have other investors. You know what I mean? We were owned by the Chinese at one point. Yeah, I think the Americans, some hedge fund as part of us now as well. And this is another thing. Are the Chinese? Are the Americans? Are they buying into the stakes into the football club, not knowing this? Because you just said it's obvious. So when the Americans bought part of the club, yeah, because you said it's obvious, are they buying in knowing full well that we're doping? Are the Chinese buying in knowing full well that we're doping because you just said it's obvious? Or are they too stupid to realise that actually it's doping? Like, again, come on, man.
You literally called your team and the owners a state.
Who did?
You just then when you were talking, you said
sponsor, the Etihad.
you also referred to the owners as a state. But
I feel like Jerry Springer here.
Did he? Did he say that? I don't recall Steve saying that once.
Nobody
City
mentioned
will
the state.
deny that they're a
Look what
state,
you've
but they
caused
literally
now.
call themselves a state.
The Abu Dhabi
It don't
group
make
owns
sense.
Manchester City, not a state.
Oh, come on.
The day this fucking thing gets sorted, the better, mate. I can't actually fucking wait for the day that this gets sorted, man. And listen, again, if we're guilty, we're guilty. Take it on the chin, we move. Yeah? But if we're innocent, yeah, I'm partying, mate. And you know, we'll be doing a big stream to party, maybe a little party in town and that. But listen, at the end of the day, like I say it again, Adam says it's obvious. It's not obvious. What you're trying to do there is say it's obvious, because then if we do get found not guilty, you'll just say, like everyone else will, oh, they paid them off or whatever. How about we all just wait? How about we all just sit here and accept that no one actually knows what's going on? I don't have a clue what's going on. We don't even know the date that the trial's happening. Yeah, we don't even know what the full charges are, because all they've given us a little sentence about what they are, and we just wait. City say they're innocent. The Premier League have brought the charges. One's right, one's wrong. At the end of the day, this is up to the Premier League to prove. It's not necessarily up to Manchester City to prove that they're innocent. That's not how it works. The Premier League have to prove what their case is. And if they've got the evidence, they've got the evidence. They'll win the case, no problemo. But if they don't have the evidence, our City can come back and say, actually, your evidence isn't right. This is the correct information. Then City will win the case. But listen, one thing I think we all agree on, rival fans, City fans, everyone, is that this needs to be sorted as soon as possible, man, because this is just dragging out. You got people talking absolute nonsense. Honestly, man, you should see some of the stuff I'm witnessing on Twitter, man. It's everyone's an accountant. Some of the shit down there is hilarious. Hilarious, man. Honestly, it's crazy. Anyway, guys, let us know what you think in the comment section below. Smash a like. I thought Big Steve handled himself very well on there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And people, I will catch you in the next one. See you later.